All right, everybody, let's welcome in the house. She has come all the way from the doldrums of Brick Municipal, not the doldrums, but from our town municipal building.
Mhm.
And what were you doing? You obviously had a meeting. You said 5:30, and she was here 6 o'clock sharp. You're actually a couple minutes early,
Okay.
and that was really good. But everybody, I'd like to introduce you to our mayor of Brick Township, New Jersey, Mayor Lisa Crate. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. How are you?
First off, I'm doing great because I have you in the house. You
Yep.
come to like the Lion's Den. It was awesome because we obviously, for those that have not watched this, if this is the first time you're watching this, we've had our little back and forths, right?
Sure.
I mean, there's things that I'm sure you haven't been happy with me about and all that. But when I wanted to do a debate, you didn't hesitate. You said, "Sure, let's get it done."
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side said they didn't want to do it, and then I offered to have you here, and you graciously came on. So thank you very much, first off, for coming all the way down here and taking your time. Because you got to be obviously busy with the campaign, right?
Yeah.
And running the town.
Running the town, running the campaign. It's all good though. Yeah, just doing our thing.
So doing your thing. So tell me, let's start here. What is doing your thing, right? So tell me about your campaign. Tell me what you're running on, what you're most proud on. Like, what is doing your thing day to day in Lisa Crate's world running Bricktown?
So, the campaign is obviously, and if anybody says that it isn't, campaigning is very stressful. You've got a lot of work to do, and making sure that aside from my regular mayoral duties, that, we're reaching out to residents. We're obviously out there canvassing, knocking doors. As you noted, we have mailers that are going out. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that happen on campaigns that it's really just like the doldrums of like making sure everything is getting done, making sure our candidates are out there, Rocco and Heather and Dan, meeting with residents as well so they can get their faces out there and let people get to know them. As mayor, I feel very fortunate that I have the opportunity to be with people on a lot of different levels, whether it be in town hall or at their community gatherings or at ribbon cuttings or at, the chamber gatherings. And I get the opportunity to speak to a lot of people all the time. And honestly, it's my pleasure to do it. I love doing it. But, for the candidates, that's a little tougher. And I would think that it's the same for, the Republicans as well. If you're a candidate, you really need to get your face out there and let people know who you are.
So that's why I started the whole Brick Breakdown, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been asking a lot of the candidates to come on. And one of the things that drives me outside of my mind, honestly, is the fact that nobody is willing to come on with me,
mm-hmm.
right? And I really thought the first time that we did our interview was going to kind of break the ice. I was like, see, look, I can be nice. I'm not this much of a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work out that way. People
mm-hmm.
still didn't want to come on and ask some of the questions. Because I think one of the things that I have noticed is it doesn't seem like when you go to like the council meetings and things like that,
mm-hmm.
some people don't seem engaged. Some people don't seem like they want to answer questions. And this is honestly goes both sides. I'm not really attacking you right here
mm-hmm.
because the Republicans said they were going to come on too, and they're avoiding me like I got COVID in 2020, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just, when you say door knocking, nobody really has knocked on my door,
mm-hmm.
right? And I really have no idea. And I think most people feel like they have no idea who their candidate is. That's why I appreciate you doing this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys running on as a team? So help us get to know the candidates that aren't sitting in your chair as
Sure.
a team. What do you think that you're going to be running on? But
mm-hmm.
I really wanted to ask you about your past. But let's start with that first.
So our team's goal is to continue to keep brick taxes stable. That's our number one goal. I think we've achieved that over the last 14 years since Mayor Ducey was elected back in 2013. And since I was on council from 2016 up until becoming mayor. That has always been one of our main goals because, listen, the cost of living, inflation, the cost of groceries, it is very expensive. We recognize that. We are just regular people. I'm just a regular person. I don't have some mansion somewhere. I'm not, collecting some giant pension out there. Like, I'm just a regular person with 2 kids. I live 2 doors down from you. Who knew back in the 90s, right?
2 doors?
I had a house, or 3 doors. I lived right on the end.
Oh, this
315.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my house up until 2004, right? So
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
so we were in there about, well, we weren't in there that long, but I don't know if
uh,
we could have crossed paths potentially.
that was past my egging days. I don't think we ever egged
Yeah.
your house. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was 90. It would have been 2001 to 2003. Essentially, I was living there. Yeah.
Oh, so we
Or
were. That was
2004,
probably when
yeah.
we were just coming back with my family.
Yeah.
Back when
So.
my son, who's a senior in college right now.
Oh wow.
Back when
See?
when we were just moving back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So we're just like regular people, right? We all have regular jobs. We all have families. And our goal, number one goal, is to continue to keep brick taxes stable. And when I say brick taxes, I mean the municipal portion of your tax bill. That's what we are responsible for. Preservation of open space has been a really big priority.
if you don't mind just stopping you there at taxes,
Sure.
right? And then we'll get back to open space,
Mhm.
because I'll write that down. Open space, right? Because I want to get back to that. But let's stop at taxes, because when I remember the last time we were running, and
Mhm.
there was a very clever Dr. Seuss or whatever it was that,
Mhm.
and I looked at this as this is a really good piece of political maneuvering, but it had a nice little cartoon figure of you with a 0% tax increase.
That is
You were
correct.
saying then I am not going to raise taxes. I'm not going to raise taxes. And then we have seen a tax increase. And when you say like you cover the municipal part of this,
Mhm.
help everybody understand that, because when we see taxes go up, we don't, I see the school taxes going up and I see the municipal taxes going up, and I lump them all together as one. And I
Mhm.
view them as, whether it's mandates by the state or whatever it is, these are our taxes. They're all going up. So I don't like splitting hairs. I view your administration, don't you really oversee all of this?
No. Well, I'm going to go back for a second. So in 2023, did you have a tax increase from the municipal portion of your tax bill? Did you have a tax increase?
I don't remember you saying, though, only 2023, right? I remember saying
Well, I didn't say
zero tax increase.
It also did not say into perpetuity forever.
But it said
So-
0% tax increase.
Yeah,
I mean,
for 2023, that was the year.
okay, but did we use a lot of the surplus like we did this year to kind of keep the taxes as low as possible? So this year, if I remember correctly, we used $15 million of the surplus, something like that, and I think we have somewhere in the range they said of like 16 million left after Sandy money. 17 okay,
million,
17
a little
million.
over $17 million.
Okay.
Which is,
But it was a
healthy
fluctuating
surplus.
number, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't a solid
Mhm.
perfect number.
Mhm.
There was a lot of guesstimates in
Yeah.
that 17.
But that is an average surplus for us: 17 million, 18 million. Sometimes it's as low as 11. Sometimes it's as high as 19. But we're in the general area of the surplus that we typically.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
now what we're seeing is, yeah, we may not have had a tax increase that year.
Mhm.
Some argue that there was tax increases, but let's just go.
Well,
with your,
there was, if you looked at the school portion and
Exactly.
the county portion and the fire district and the library, all of those things are part of your tax bill.
Yeah, and wouldn't you say they're kind of attached to you just because they're attached to the
They are
party?
not. They are not.
But your party,
what does my party have to do with?
with the
what
school
is-
funding formula,
No.
I think your party has a lot to do with the school funding formula,
Well,
and that's
That you're talking about state level decisions that are made.
yes.
When
yeah.
it comes to me as the mayor of this town, your party, my party, local politics is something that touches every single person.
Yeah.
And local politics to me has no Democrat or Republican or independent. It is irrelevant to me what your party faction is. It really is. When people call town hall and say, I've got a clogged drain in my street, or my garbage didn't get picked up, or there's a pothole, or I need the police to come to my house, there's an emergency. Not one time ever has any of us said, well, can you please tell me if you're a Republican or a Democrat, please? Because that will determine whether or not we come to your house. Local politics, parties, in my eyes, play no role in getting the job done. If we serve everyone, and attaching the Republicans to anything that's going on nationally, or the Democrats in town going on with anything nationally, I think is not the right thing to do, because ultimately the things that people find important in their daily lives are right here at the ground level.
Yeah, and listen, I will agree with you and kind of disagree with you in a way, right? Because I do see Jackson kind of seems like they have the same problems when you talk to the townspeople as Brick, as Toms River, as Howell, as all of Ocean County. And you look at Brick, we have a majority Democrat run council and obviously mayor. We have Jackson is all Republican, and they have the exact same problem. So I will say that to you, but I do think that one of the problems that when you look at someone like me, because you are talking to mostly voters kind of like me, right? So when we look at you, we go, okay, how are you different than like a Mikey Sherrill if she got in? Because there are situations where I don't feel like anybody fought for our children. And people could say they did or whatever, but I feel like we got $25 million stolen from us underneath a Democrat-run county. There's a lot of people that say that it could have been vindictive on Murphy's part or whatever. I don't like getting into all that stuff, but we did lose that much money. And I'm trying to figure out, like, when that's dictated on us, how is that anybody else's fault but obviously like who's in charge of our town, but also who's in charge of the state? Because and the reason why I bring that up is I saw one of your campaign mailers, and I will I'll put this out, and you've seen these beforehand, right? I saw one of your campaign mailers, and it said this: you were going to bring up $38. You had 38. You said you're a fiscal conservative in this, and it's a $38 tax increase where Madeline increased your taxes $404. And when I look at those, I go, is that a fair comparison? Because a lot of the stuff that our school board has done has been forced upon them by a ridiculous funding formula, and they had to respond. If they didn't respond, they'd be in a situation like Toms River where they're forced to raise taxes up to, what are they, 15, 16% this year when they wanted something lower. The state came in and said, no, you can't do that. So isn't some of that tax increase that got pushed on us not really the school board, but really the state of New Jersey?
You can argue that, certainly. And when you say that, who was there fighting against this school funding formula, I was first in line. So to say that, who really fought or who didn't, I have testified in front of the State Board of Education. I have we've done letter writing campaigns. We signed on the lawsuit to get the school funding formula, out in the open, which we never did get, by the way.
Did they send you the formula with it, but not the program?
It was not,
to read it?
Yeah, it was not that. It was nothing. It was a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
So, I have fought with teachers because that's my, I was a teacher too, to fight for the fair funding for all of our schools. So I don't disagree with you that is, that was certainly a problem. But locally, $404 is a lot for somebody to swallow. I don't care where it's coming from, but that is, when you say you lump it all together, I don't think that's a fair assessment, as I am in charge and control of the municipal portion of our taxes. So if you want to talk about the municipal portion of the taxes, that's what I have control over.
Okay. No, and I get that. I look at it as we have a lot of unfunded liabilities.
I don't disagree. And we have that at the township level too. And we still manage to get by and be fiscally responsible.
But so let's talk about that, because when I looked at the budget, that was when I see massive amounts of the surplus that are being used to kind of keep it's, to me, it looks like there's an artificial keeping taxes low because we're using the surplus. When we get to the point where where we're running out of surplus, but we also have, to me, a lot of issues that we Band-Aid over.
Well, we're not running out of surplus, to be clear. We have
if we keep using $15 million a year,
we don't use $15 million a year.
We have for the last 2 years, though, right?
We didn't use $15 million.
I thought it was like 12 and 15. We used a big chunk of the surplus the last 2 years. That's one of the reasons why I thought we kept taxes so low. So, but what my only point is, I see big things coming. I see the DPW garbage trucks need to be replaced. I see my streets completely falling apart. If you do look around, there are sinkholes. I've talked about this. I think there's major projects that are on the precipice for us. And I see year 2, year 3, year 4 from now, year 5, taxes exploding. Can you tell us how would you manage something differently, I guess, than what the school board has done? to where you're gonna keep taxes as low as possible, to where they're not going to get to the point where it is $50 to $100 to $200 to $300, and that's what I see coming.
Because we plan ahead.
Okay.
All of these big projects that we have been planning for over time so that we knew that we would have money for them. And one of the reasons that we've been able to keep our taxes stable is because, unlike in past administrations, we knew that unless we kept on top of getting new garbage trucks each year, getting new police cars each year, making sure that our fleet for the people who have to drive around town on a regular basis that aren't like garbage men, like maybe our code enforcement or all of our inspections, the guys that do all of our inspections, we made sure that we knew each year what was going to be budgeted for ahead of time and left reserve for things we knew would be an emergency. So we're not going to run into an entire fleet of garbage trucks having to be replaced. Like when Mayor Ducey came in, we had to replace almost the whole fleet over time because none of the trucks had been replaced for so long, right? Same thing with our police cars. You've got to stay on top of it. You've got to make sure each year these things are budgeted for ahead of time. We know that. We know we want to stay on top of that. And by doing that, we know what our budget looks like next year and the year after and the year after, and we're able to plan for that accordingly.
What about things that you don't know and you can't plan for? Like, so one of the things that I did say is none of our pipes are connecting. And if you do look, if you just look down my street, that's still a problem that's going on. And it looks like we're going to be, we were planned to have this neighborhood repaved till I started bringing this issue up. And then to your credit, I had, calls from engineers and the whole 9 yards. I think this is, I will never treat you unfairly because that's the truth. And they were obviously looking at our drainage. Now you could clearly see if you just go down this street that it's destroyed, but there are sinkholes in these spots, and the sinkholes is from the drainage. Now that's something that's a big job. And it's something that nobody had any clue about. And it's a problem that I think needs to get done now and not in the future. Right. And so, because if we just pave over it, we're going to have the same sinkholes 10 years from now. Right. So no one knew about that situation. And I think that's going on in a lot of different brick towns. Everybody is talking about their roads going to garbage. So something like that you don't know about. Where's our cushion there when we really start talking about spending so much of the surplus each year? Do we have cushion for bad winters, and we have a bad winter,
so we
and then
actually
a couple
have
unforeseen projects?
We have a snow emergency fund that's separate from our surplus that we put money into each year for if there's a big snowstorms and things like that. But also, when it comes to things like you're talking about your drainage, and I know there's a lot of roads around town that are having similar problems. Each year, I have to ask you, how much money do you think we spend on roads each year? Like you would agree with me that we need to pave as many roads as possible in Brick Township, correct? Roads that we own, right? So let's talk about roads that we own. Neighborhood streets are roads that we own. Brick Township owns hundreds of miles of roads. Hundreds, easily, right? So each year.
And I think there's 5 people that service them on a regular basis. Just so
we have a great
knows.
road crew.
5 people service your road on a regular basis. I believe that's the right number. So yes, give them a big
shout out to our road crew.
Yes.
Kudos to them. They do an amazing job. Fantastic job. But we spend anywhere between $3 and $5 million per year on paving jobs. Okay, so throughout the township. And I'll give you an example. Greenbrier 1 is just one that comes to mind. They do have a lot of road issues in Greenbrier 1. I don't disagree. There are road issues all around town. I'm not arguing that fact. I completely agree. There are roads in this town that if you have a road complaint, please let us know, because sometimes we don't know that. I can't drive on every road, right? So I don't know if there's a road complaint, if we've received it. I always tell people I will make sure the engineer goes out to assess it. But when it comes to like your road and your drainage issues, what will happen is we know that's an issue. We know that the utility company is going to come out and pave this road. And I didn't have the conversation, to be fair, I did not have the conversation with our engineer ahead of time and having this conversation. But I could make a presumption here that if the drainage issue was something that the engineer wants to take care of, then what would happen is next year that would automatically roll into part of what we would be doing in that 3 to 5 million range. And then, because we know that the road is going to be paved by the gas company,
Okay.
right? So we know that, right? We know that that happened. And a lot of times, one of the things that we do too is we have this $3 to $5 million that we do for these paving jobs. I said, I started to talk about Greenbrier 1. We did 6 roads in Greenbrier 1. That cost a little over $500,000 to do those roads. So we know ahead of time, like, okay, this is what it's going to cost. This is what roads we would like to do. Sometimes if we don't get to the road that year, it's funded, but it gets done the following year, right? Depending on the paving season when we get in. But that drainage problem, we would add to that road work problem for the road work budget for next year automatically. So drainage is part of the paving process. And we want to make sure we have somebody come out to take care of that, fix whatever the issues are, and then the gas company can come back in and pave.
Okay. So
but I don't know what she discussed with you. So I'm just presuming that is what's happening.
No, so they just wanted to know where certain things were and what was going on mostly. And that's, I am, you see me at some of these meetings. I told them exactly this is what's happening. It was every single spot where the pipes were connected. They weren't connected anymore. One was above, one was below. She was saying there's positive flow. It's obviously going somewhere. Where it's going, I don't know, but it's pulling stuff around. It's pulling the dirt around it out. That's what's going on. I could show you the pictures. I posted them on the Brick Breakdown there. This was honestly, it was before your time. I think it was 2019.
Okay.
When that happened. But you're seeing it now. It's 6 years later. You're seeing all those areas settle down. Certain areas are settling down, like they're sinkholing again. So it's just one of those things where I want to know that we have a plan.
Right. And we're not denying that there's an issue at all. We understand that a lot of roads need to be paved. We do understand that. And we understand that patching forever is not the answer. So we do, I know everybody's like, oh, we're on the list. But when you have hundreds of roads and you're looking at each of those roads individually, it is ranked worst at the top.
Yeah. And so how do you stop? How do you stop the tax increases? And this is the part that I see that is that I think is inevitable. And that's why I said I see them going up exponentially. And honestly, I think they're going to go up no matter who's there, because I think there's a lot that's going on. And because the tax increases, when you look at everything that has to take place, all the new cops, the new cops' salaries, the new employee salaries, all the trucks that we need, pothole trucks, new ambulance. I know we're getting an ambulance off of some settlement.
Yep.
I don't even care to talk. If you want to bring that up, we're cool. I heard another one got into an accident. I know, I just see all these projects, roads, schools falling apart. I see this stuff.
Okay, again, I got to separate. Schools are not us.
Okay, but this is, again, old schools. I do.
Yeah.
You may say that's them, this is us.
It is. It's a complete. There is an absolute division between municipal government and school government. I have got to relay that to you. It is state law, absolute separation.
It's state law, absolute separation.
There is a separation between none of our monies mingle, none of our rules mingle. I have no say over what the school does, what the school board does, nor do they have any say over what we do. So far, schools falling apart. Whose budget does that come out of? School budget. That's a school budget. It's all the school budget. But the municipal budget, if we have mold or something. Municipal budget covers everything else. It covers roads, police, parks, recreation, beaches, all of our engineering, land use, all of the inspectors that come out. We cover everything else. And the schools cover the schools, the buses, the school buildings, and everything within those walls. I get it, but I appreciate the distinction. To the homeowner, you get this. It's another dollar coming out of my pocket. I know. So when I see all of these things, and then I honestly see things that drive me like crazy, like 48 take-home police vehicles. That stuff drives me crazy. It's like, why do we have 48 vehicles? I'm not sure that, I know you're saying that's the number. I don't believe that's the accurate number. I think we're very close to that number. If it's not 48, it's 46. Yeah, I have a printout of it. I don't make numbers up, so I'm not going to say what number it is. I believe we have just under 60 take-home vehicles total in our fleet, if I remember correctly. I think it's 59, and I believe 48 or 46 of those are police take-home vehicles. You
Yeah.
can believe that. I don't have those numbers in front of me, so I'm not going to confirm that.
Well, that's the numbers that were sent
Mhm.
over, that were like sent over to me,
Mhm.
that I got from the township. But that's so like something to me, like detectives. We have a lot of detectives that are
Mhm.
that have take home vehicles. I do, when I see those things bother me. But listen, what do you see, if you could project the next 3 years?
Mhm.
How much more do you think you guys need to run our government?
So we have been incredibly lean with like, I know people had brought up back when Doge or whatever you call it was like a huge thing, right? We got a Doge Brick Township. All
Mhm.
right, have at it, because I would love to know where you would like to see more cuts, because one of the things that Mayor Ducey did when he came in, and that I have continued, is we obviously we don't have any friends and family hiring. Mayor Ducey got rid of a bunch of high salaried positions that I don't think were real positions. I'm not sure what they were in particular, but they were positions that were just kind of made up so people would have. Those were all removed. My office, for instance, back in the day, let's say maybe 8-10 years ago or longer, my administrative office, I think I was told there were between 7 and 9 people working in my office. Right now, I have one part-time secretary that works 2 days, 4 hours each day. Joanne, right? Is the BA. She's in my office. I have our information officer, and I have our BMAC coordinator who works with the schools. That's my whole office.
Okay.
So when I say that what we do is we work with what we need to have,
But aren't
and we
overall
don't go
employees?
overall.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Mhm.
aren't overall employees higher today than they were 5 years ago, 7 years ago? And it's not by
I
a
think
lot, but
so.
I thought it was by 20 people, something like that. I thought we were, what are we, just under 400 total employees?
Just under 400. I don't
Okay.
think that it's if it is, then they were necessary hires.
Okay.
Whether they be additional garbage men, or when over the last 6 or 7 years, we have gone up to the full complement of police officers. When I started on council, we had about, I think the number for police officers was 135. And now we're up to 146 or 147. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll be the guy. Like, I know it's not fashionable. Honestly, what the officers make versus what some of the other guys make is another, I guess, a contention point for me. Right. So I did the thing on the DPW, and I got to be honest with you. Like, I got sent something that said we were looking for a mechanic. And this mechanic had to be able to work on cars,
Mhm.
equipment, diesel and gas, had to be certified, had to be a outgoing personality. There was a lot of things that were attached to this mechanic, and the starting pay was $48,000. Now, when I bring that up to different people that are in the industry that working on trucks, it's an $85,000 job. If you want them to talk, it's a $100,000 job. You don't, and to be able to work on a car, work on a front end loader, and work on an ambulance, and be certified, you're going to see the bottom of the barrel at $48,000. And what I see is, when I see lifelong DPW workers that have 55,000, they've been here 10 years, they're making 55, 60,000, and then we have a 3-year police officer that's already over 100 or whatever, however it breaks down to their steps, say 4 years, say 5 years. This could be younger kids versus a family guy. And to me, like, do you see that as a problem, the pay disparity that one union got versus the other? And if you do, how do we fix that?
Here's what you get when you get a job with the municipal government.
Okay.
And I could say the same for teachers or whatever. You get a secure job, right?
Mhm.
A job that you know that you're going to have a place to go. You get excellent benefits. You get job security, like I said, and you get great paid time off.
But don't the cops get that as well, though, right? They get that and a high salary.
You are comparing apples and oranges.
I don't believe I am.
What we need to do is we need to be competitive in all fields. And I'm not saying that I don't wish DPW could get paid more. I would love to pay DPW more. And if it's in our wheelhouse to do that, we would absolutely do that. My husband is a lifelong public work department person. I know what DPW salaries are. I do.
Yeah.
All right. So he's been working for Public Works, not in Brick, for over 30 years. I know what that salary is, but I also know how valuable the benefits that he has were to my family.
I get it.
And his work schedule, how valuable that was. Do I think he was worth more money? Absolutely. Of course he was. Do I think almost everybody out there working is worth more than what they're getting paid? I do. And if there's a way that we can do it for Public Works and anyone else in any of the other areas in Town Hall, that's when we sit down and negotiate those salaries. And I want that. But you need to look at, when you're making this comparison, it's an unfair comparison when you're trying to, in all areas, get the best people for all of the jobs in town. And in order to get police, and I love our police department, and I think we have the best police in the state of New Jersey. I'm going to put that right out there. Mm-hmm. You need to have a competitive salary with all the other towns around us. And that's what we have out there.
Listen, I'm not saying that
same for Public Works, same for any of our offices.
And I look at that as, honestly, justifying bad behavior by pointing to other bad behavior. And I get it that you have to be competitive, and for whatever reason it's gotten skewed. I don't view it as apples to oranges. You know how I view it, honestly, it is a equal distribution of wealth argument. I use this against the Democrats because this is a Democrat state. We were ran by Democrats, and somehow we have unequal distribution of government funds, and it's unequal distribution in pay of government employees. Now, people say it's apples to oranges and all that stuff, but listen, being a cop in Brick is a dangerous job, but being on a road crew is also a dangerous job.
I don't disagree with that.
So when you look at these, the danger, right? The danger of this, I don't think changes from job to job. That's why I look at it as, and I go, we are getting to the point where we've allowed salaries to really inflate in one area, and we've kept salaries way down in the other. And to me, just really quick, let me just finish this and then be fair. And I'm not saying you're to blame with this. I'm just asking if there's anything you could do. But whoever's working on my ambulance, that mechanic, is a very important person in my world. I don't
disagree.
Right? They are very important because, you hear stories about people dying in backs of ambulances and things like that. And I don't want that for Bricktown, New Jersey. So I look at our mechanics. A cop can't work at $148,000 a year, whatever they're making, if our mechanic can't keep the cars on the road. So that's the way I look at it. And yes, I would love to see something done. And to your credit, I'm going to give you credit here. You guys gave them the biggest increase that they've had in a really long time, which was a 6% increase. Mm-hmm. So I will give you credit for that after it wasn't increased for a very long time.
Right.
So is that something that maybe we could look into and say, hey guys, like officers, we are the second highest paid in the state. Let's chill for a second on the next contract. Let's let these guys catch up because we do have a very unfair distribution of funds. Now, fire away. Where am I wrong?
No, I was just going to point out that we started with working towards making things better for our Public Works with that 6% raise. That was something that when I was on council, we were really wanting for those public workers. So yes, when contract negotiations come up again, we'll see what happens.
Okay. So let me ask you this, if you can. I like to compare and contrast. What do you think the three most important issues are to the regular, everyday Brick voter?
Well, based off of what I've heard from people, and I've talked to a lot of people, I think number one issue that people have in Brick Township, what do you think it is?
I'm asking you.
I know, but I want you to guess. What do you think the number one issue that comes to the table for me? Number one problem people have with Brick Township?
Traffic.
Bingo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I do not disagree, right? So traffic is depending on the day, the time, the area, the road, the school letting out. Is it summertime? Traffic is a nightmare in Brick Township, right? So why is that? Why is Brick Township this hub of horrific traffic?
Are you asking me? Because I can answer that question.
That is a rhetorical question.
I can answer that. Please, can I please answer that?
You can answer that.
No, I'm joking. Go ahead. This is not to highlight my thoughts.
But to be honest with you, the reason for that is because if you look at first of all the amenities that Brick Township has. You cannot deny that Brick Township has pretty much everything anyone could possibly want, right?
Yep.
To a degree, right?
Besides the
That you wanna
Popeyes.
I know.
We're getting a Bojangles, so
I
that's,
know.
I hear we're getting a
have not-
Bojangles.
I've not had Bojangles, but hopefully it is comparable to the Popeyes. I don't
Listen,
know.
it's Southern Bojangles and Southern Popeyes. Like if you go down south, it's totally different taste. Like I don't care what.
All
what
right,
anybody
well, we're
says.
gonna have to give it a shot. We'll see
They
what
dialed
it
the
is
seasonings. They only put like 7 seasonings on their chicken instead of all 21. When you get
I will demand as mayor.
Yeah,
I will
please.
demand all 21.
all right,
seasonings.
good. You might have my vote if you do that. If you make them cooked chicken with a little bit
I
of
will make it happen.
with Southern soul, I will take that.
But honestly,
traffic.
we have everything, and so Brick Township. If you think about, first of all, the placement of Brick Township, the fact that we have everything here, from shopping to beaches to the 5 or 6 different parkway entrances and exits that get you to and from where you're going. Every single town around us, Toms River, Jackson, Manchester, Wall, Point Pleasant, all of these towns have experienced double-digit, not single-digit, not like 2%, 3%, double-digit growth in their population over the last 20 years.
Mhm.
Double-digit. And our other neighbor,
We really haven't though.
we have not.
We've stayed right around.
Right around 76,000.
Yeah.
Yep. But
And
you
I mean,
go,
the state police has it upwards of 80,000 right now for whatever reason. But last I checked, we're still 76.
Same.
If you look at the FBI or the state police crime statistics, they
Mhm.
have us at 80,100.
it might be
But it could be
summer.
during summer. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But however we're
But
worked
we've
out.
remained pretty steady while everyone else has gone up double digits to triple.
But
If you're looking at
Everyone has a
certain-
car though now. This is the
Everyone
problem I
has a
see, and this is
car,
what I would like
yeah.
to ask you, because traffic to me, it comes with, it may be 1 and 1A, or let's say 1 and 2 is overdevelopment, right? And I think they
all
come
over
with.
though, in Ocean County in general.
Let's
Ocean County
let's just
in
talk.
general
Let's just talk about
has
what we do in
been-
Brick, though.
Right.
So, what have we done in Brick since Sandy? We've allowed a lot of roads to build very, very, very big houses, and they're in areas that were zoned 5 or 6 bedroom. We let them build 8 and 9 bedrooms. We have variances for them. I was at a variance hearing where we had the guy built a 9-bedroom house, and everyone around him built a 9-bedroom house. And now, guess what? Certain times of the year, nobody could park on the street anymore
Mhm.
because there's 1,000 cars out there because
Mhm.
we didn't have the foresight not to let him build this.
Mhm.
And then what he asked for, then he wanted to turn half his front yard and his whole front
Right.
yard into a parking
Driveway.
lot.
Yep.
And he's back for another variance. And we don't have the foresight to see, hey, why do we have these zoning laws in the first place? Keep it at 5 or 6 houses. I think the traffic is stuff that our zoning boards, our planning boards, our board of adjustments, I think they have a direct impact on this, on what they
Mhm.
approve, both residential and commercial. So what would you say to some of the things that I've seen, some of the concerns that I think people have as far as overdevelopment? Do you have a plan to where we could kind of curb overdevelopment?
So if people are going in front of the Board of Adjustment, then their rules have to be followed. I do not attend those meetings. I don't weigh in on those meetings. I don't weigh in on the meetings of anything that goes in front of the planning board. And the reason I don't weigh in on any of those things is because the moment I dip my toe into that is the moment that it tips the scales, right? And when those scales get tipped, what typically happens is a lawsuit with a loss to the town. And
Why do they always lose? Why do we always lose? Why are we
because
that
people
bad?
have property rights.
Okay.
People have property rights. It's constitutional right for people to build and do what they want with their property, presumably, right?
But they don't have the right to overbuild
Right.
what they want with their property. And
So
let me-
you're telling me 8 and 9 bedroom homes. This isn't something that I have.
Well, you know that
Oh.
we have them in Brick, right?
I
So
know that
that
they-
was just a
but,
residential
yeah.
example. We could also do, let's just say, the front of my neighborhood right here.
Mhm.
One of the things that got me involved in the Brick breakdown in the first place was the fact that they had a couple lots that they put together.
Mhm.
2 different proposals. One was denied. One was approved.
Mhm.
For 3-story at the very max of our height requirement,
Mhm.
outside of nothing that's around this area.
Mhm.
3-story, 18 apartments. 4 of them were going to be the affordable housing, and then they had 2 residential units on the bottom of it with like 56 parking spaces. When that was brought to the board, the planning board, you have the same lawyer that's there all the time that lied that I caught lying, but we'll forget about that. But you
He's
have
not our attorney, by the way.
he's not
You
your
know
attorney.
that.
No. He's
Yeah,
just
that's not
I'm
a
just
township
saying
attorney.
he should be barred from ever doing business in brick. But anyway, that's a different story. But the reason why I bring this up is because they got approved for this giant monstrosity that doesn't fit there. And they got approved on the fact that, oh, this is a brick business owner and it's going to be brick and there's brick this and brick that and brick this. Now it's up for sale. Who is it going to be sold to? Now they could come in and they could build that. And like, it's things like that where I don't think we
But did
needed
that
them
get
to
approved?
allow. With 4 different variances? Yes.
But they're not building. You said now it's up for
Now
sale.
they're selling it.
Okay.
So, but that's
whoever they sell it to is likely going to have to go back in front of the board for whatever it is that.
but
want to
they
do
are.
with the
Why
property.
did they go through all that approval? They got the approval so they could sell it at a higher number, and then they're going to come in and do the same thing because they already have the variances that were allowed to build these monstrosities. And then then to me it already makes it easier for them. It's going to make it easier for them to build anything in the future. That's the point. Like I think people see that and they're like, something has to be done here. And overdevelopment is like, it's. When Brick says, and this is another big thing, people say we do not want Brick to be Lakewood. And it's really bad because anytime you say even the word Lakewood, it's like everyone gets like, oh, you can't say that word or you're going to be judged something. But when I think of it and I say we don't want Brick to be Lakewood, we don't want those stacks of row houses made by these these giant builders. We don't want that the amount of traffic that they have, that they have the amount of cars. And it seems like with the affordable housing stuff that's coming up, with what they're trying to build just on Drum Point Road here, it seems like that's the direction we're going, especially Drum Point Road. Drum Point Road's got very big lots. They could build those stacked houses. What got denied on 100?
That's not what's approved. But that's not what's approved
Many have
for this
been.
area. But that's not what is approved for this area,
Okay.
and many haven't been. Also, to be fair.
They had, but so for example, one hasn't been because everyone went crazy on that, including myself, and you had a lot of people that were leaving that.
Yeah, but that's not what that is made for. And the zoning board did their job and denied it. That's the goal of the boards. We put people on these boards who, and they're not just like, they have to go through courses in order to sit on that board.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're just a regular citizen sitting there. There are required courses that they have to take, hours worth of
brick citizens, right?
Yeah. So, and those are people who live in this town too, right?
Oh, I
and
get
those are people who don't want to see the character of the town change either. So,
and it is though. It has though for the last 10 years, right?
That if you look everywhere, yeah, to a degree, sure. Mm-hmm. But again, everything goes back to property rights, right? And your constitutional right to, when I own this property and if it is zoned properly and I want to build what is zoned there, then they should be able to build that because that's what people buy property for, right?
I agree.
When you go in front of the Board of Adjustment, we could go back and forth about this all night long. But the fact of the matter is we put those people on that board to hear out both sides of the argument and to hear out the residents' concerns and to vote accordingly. And I think that I know you're making a case that everything gets built, but not everything gets built. And there are a lot of denials on our zoning board.
I just think we've seen a lot of things get built. I mean, like if I see one more storage unit get built, I may lose my mind.
They're the quietest neighbors.
It's how many do we need? Do we really need that many storage units in Brick, New Jersey? Like it's the craziest thing. Giant
I know
too.
we say that, and then we say that about Wawa's too. But have you ever seen an empty Wawa parking lot?
No, but Wawa's a license to print money, but Wawa's a big problem too. Wawa, just because of the business. And I don't think, do we get a lot of that money? Just because they make all their money, how much that actually comes to the town?
We get taxes based off of the land assessment and the building that's on that assessment.
But not really.
Can I tell you I can tell you off the top, the Aldi, for instance, that's on Route 70, we get just about yearly $65,000 in tax. No, that's for the school. Actually, they pay school tax of about $65,000 each year. Yeah, just to the school.
Yeah.
So it's not like these businesses aren't paying taxes to.
Are they worth the squeeze though? Is what I'm asking. Because when you look at somewhere like a Wawa, yes, it brings a lot of people, but also you take that Wawa right on Route 70 there, right getting into Lake Riviera, that back end of Lake Riviera. It's like, That's a nightmare going in and out and
Right.
people come. So yeah, and the way they design that parking lot, they try to squeeze all this stuff in these tiny little areas. That's the stuff I think that when you really do look at boil it down to like
Mhm.
brick, I want to see how do we preserve it.
Mhm.
And it doesn't sound like anybody has a great answer because property rights are, what I want to see is I want to see anything we could do to change some of these variance laws
Mhm.
because the variance laws favor people with money. They don't favor anybody without money.
Mhm.
If you take a look at my
Well,
house,
these
if you
laws
take,
aren't made all at the local level, though. This is laws
what
that are
can we
made
do
at the state
locally?
level and that we have to follow,
Okay.
right? So we follow the law, and you'll note that find a a scandal in brick where we didn't follow the law.
No,
And you can go
I don't
and you
think you
could go
could.
to a lot of other towns and find lots of scandals based off of the fact that they say, well, we don't want this, so you can't come, kind of thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's where people get into a lot of trouble. So I'm not disagreeing with you, but what we can do on our part is work on parcels of property that we can preserve and that we can save. And we have the Brick Open Space Savers, which is our
Yeah.
citizen-run group that we have between 12 and 14 members. And I'm going to shout out there, if anybody from Brick Memorial or Brick Township is watching, we would love to have our 2 student members back representing the youth, because we have people of all ages. Every area of town participates in this. And what we are doing through the Brick Open Space Savers is we are working to preserve a lot of land that's been, not necessarily targeted in every aspect, but some that have. We have 2 different parcels off of Drum Point that back up to the Drum Point.
Mhm.
No, not off of Drum Point. It's actually off of, let's say, Cherry Quiet. They back up to the Drum Point Sports Complex that we are preserving. We preserved land off of Maple Avenue. We have 11 acres in another area that we're preserving that we're hoping to preserve that could have had 11 homes built on it. So we are working in every aspect possible. And you asked about before, you said, well, how do you plan on keeping our taxes down, right? How do you keep our taxes stable? One of the things that we do really well in Brick Township is we write a lot of grants, and we get a lot of grants, millions of dollars in grants every year that help us purchase land, that help us get ambulances, that help us get protective equipment for our police officers. We are grant writing machines here, and we make sure that we have tapped into everything that we can possibly do that will not be a burden on the taxpayer in order to get the things that the taxpayers want.
And I get it. And I think that's the part that concerns me as like a non-Democrat voter, or right. So for example, when I was at that one meeting, it was the Greenhouse Gas Initiative pledge, I believe it was that
So
grant.
no, it is through Sustainable Jersey. Let's get it right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a pledge that we took through
Mhm.
Sustainable Jersey. Original back to 2015.
Okay.
We are a silver certificate town for sustainability, which means that we've worked with getting grant money for a whole bunch of different things, green initiatives. That includes funding for our Pick Up Brick program. It helps us with beach sweeps. It helps us with some different programs that we do for recycling. It helps us with our environmental commission, our green fair that we host, right? This is how we get funding through that. It helps us when we have certain point values with Sustainable Jersey, when we are applying and we want to save land, right? They were like, look at us. We are still silver certificate. One of only 3 in Ocean County. Point Pleasant and Stafford are the other 2 townships, right? Important thing to know about the sustainability pledge. You know who else signed on to that sustainability pledge?
Who's that?
Tom's
Tom's
River,
River.
Jackson, Howell, Freehold, Manchester, every single town, because they know that
What
the
are we
point
pledging
value-
to, though?
Really nothing. It is
Okay.
It is essentially us saying that we will do our best to. And now I know people are cherry picking stuff out of
I was gonna
it.
say because the way I
Yeah.
looked at it is we definitely pledged a number of different carbon.
We don't need to. None of that is anything that is something like, if you don't do this, you're not getting whatever. That's not it. It is more about us saying, we're making a pledge to do certain things around our town to make sure that our green spaces remain green, that we make sure that there isn't a huge amount of garbage around our town, right? That we're helping with, we have our solar fields,
Mhm.
and we have different charging stations around town that are good for electric vehicles. Adding an electric vehicle
That's
to
a state
our
mandate
fleet,
too, right?
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I mean-
making sure that we get funding for all of those things. Making that pledge is what gives us points,
Okay.
which allows us to get grant funding to do those things. Does it require us to do all those things? It does not. Do we have to partner with other towns? We do not. None of it is binding. It's more of, here, we're saying, yes, we agree. We want to make sure that Brick Township is taken care of with regard to, keeping our air clean and our water clean, and making sure, like I said, we don't have garbage all over the place.
It's funny that you say keeping
You
your
know?
water clean, and Tom's River took the pledge for this greenhouse gas sustainable stuff, because the Tom's River, parts of the Tom's River were closed to swimming
Mhm.
due to too much fecal bacteria being in the water, being E. coli
Mhm,
levels
mhm.
that were well over 1,000 when apparently it was supposed to be under 200.
So just to be clear, the pledge
So
is
it's-
not
it's just
holding
funny- it's
you.
funny when you say
This is
this.
a perfect example
Yeah.
of the pledge doesn't hold you to.
So you pledged for nothing. It's kind of
really-
like,
it's like
I promise, yes, I
sustainable
swear to God, I'll do it.
Yeah, but sustainable Jersey is more of a
It's a joke. I
they
mean, let's
want
face
you
facts. It's all a joke.
but what they want you to do is
Save the environment.
make your
while-
efforts.
They
do
want
this,
you to
right?
save the environment while they're taking all of the environment for sustainable houses and affordable housing.
Well, that's
I mean,
not
that's
what,
the reality
but that's
of it.
not what Sustainable Jersey does.
Okay.
To be fair, that's
Okay.
not what they do.
Seems-
Sustainable Jersey is about encouraging people to take care of the green spaces that we have and to keep our communities clean. That's all Sustainable Jersey
I
is.
get it now, but so how do you navigate the double-ended garbage? And I know we said 45 minutes. We're already at 50. Can I get you for a couple more?
That's fine.
How do you navigate the double-ended garbage like that? So you have that pledge.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, we're going to do this, right? And then you also have the affordable housing mandates that are being pushed on you guys. And from what I understand, I will commend you, and you have a great team. Tara, right? Tara does a great
We have
job.
Tara. We actually have a perfect example, by the way, of how we work with everyone is the law firm that we brought on to assist us with affordable housing is to be fair, of an honestly big Republican law firm, but we knew that they were going to do the best job. Like I could
Okay,
not care less.
I like that.
That they're Republican, Democrat. We bring the right people on to do the job.
So, but how do you fight that, being a Democrat and with a Democrat, mayor, obviously, or who knows, it may be a Republican governor pretty soon. But the way I look at it is the double-ended stuff, because on the one end you have that sustainable use pledge that we're doing all these green initiatives, and then the other thing, they come back to you and say, no, you have to build on a lot of your wetlands in court. So
we fight them. So we fight them.
yeah,
And that's it. Now, listen, again, I go back to what is right for the township of Brick.
okay.
I could not care less if the governor is Republican, if the governor is Democrat. It is completely irrelevant to me. Point being, we have signed on to lawsuits against some of the stuff that Murphy has thrown our way because we don't agree with it. It doesn't matter to us who is the top party in the state right now or in the future. I want to work with whoever is there. I want to know that when I call them or text them, if there's an emergency here in Brick Township, that it does not matter to them, just like it doesn't matter to me if they're a Republican or a Democrat. We all live here in this town. We all live here in this county, and we all live here in this state. And frankly, we are all neighbors. It does not matter to me if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It just doesn't. And
No,
I don't care if that's an argument that's out there that I'm some left-wing nut job. I am not. I am a normal person who cares about this town and cares about my neighbors. And these are people we have to live with. So I am very careful about, whatever you want to call mudslinging or saying things about people, because I honestly don't feel that way. At the end of the day, we all have to live together.
I get that, and listen, I appreciate that. Now, I get what the campaigns are doing. When you're doing the campaign, you call Madeline old and stuff like that.
I've never said
That
she
was very
old.
that was
To be
very
clear,
interesting.
Never came out of
they're,
my
they're
mouth.
saying something about you lied about them during some debate or any of that stuff. Do you want
That did not happen.
Do you want to clarify anything with that? Apparently, you said something about her going to sleep at a.
Oh, I didn't say that during the debate.
Oh, okay,
though.
okay.
Oh no,
No.
I never said anything like
Okay.
that. at the
So what
debate.
were they talking about? You
I'm
lying?
not really.
Okay.
It's really hard to say.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I can tell you, did not lie during the debate. I did not tell a lie. However, I was completely prepared, and so was my team.
I could
All
tell
of
you,
us were prepared.
I could tell you this. I will. Just seeing what goes on, I think there's misrepresentations everywhere. And I'm not saying you're doing it. I do see misrepresentations in your campaign, and I've seen misrepresentations in their campaign. I thank you with the Charlie Kirk stuff. They didn't. Matter of fact, they try to play a little dirty tactic on that, and I didn't like that, and I called them out on it. My thing is, the Republicans and the Democrats aren't happy with me at times. If that's the case, I think I'm doing my job. But I saw a hit piece on Madeline that used my name by one of the local networks, and I see this stuff, and I feel like they're obviously paid to write this stuff off, right? I get it's
I'm sure
campaign
there
stuff.
will be clips of me taken from this.
Probably, but I mean, listen. Once again, it's it's you're either going to look good or you're not. That's what I tell everybody. And so, listen. So far,
I can only be me.
You can only be you, and that's the truth. I look at it as I see it as a dirty game. I see some of the things that are coming from your campaign to be. I'm going to be honest. Like I see them some not truthful at all. The falling asleep ad was very deceptive.
I didn't write that article.
I know. I'm just saying, but it's your campaign, right? So that was deceptive.
Well, we didn't write that article. I don't know. It was just, listen, let's be fair.
Okay.
We want to be fair here. If we want to be fair here.
It seems like it was paid for by your.
I just want to be clear. It was amusing. Just like all of the things that they've been posting for the last 4 months about me are amusing. I think that's a fair assessment.
I like that. I do. It is a fair. And this is politics. I get it. It is 100% politics. I just wanted to ask you about their complaint, because that was one of the reasons why they did not come sit down with the debate, was because they said you lied about them.
Well,
so I had to ask you that question.
Wouldn't sitting down here with me face to face be a good opportunity to prove
call out
that
any
I'm lying?
lies? I could 100% completely agree with you. That's what I
missed opportunity.
That was my response to them. Listen, I will do anything to get anybody to talk to me, and I appreciate you being here. I was ready to offer, let's do like a tag team where you and Ducey are on one side, and it's never going to be Ducey. I'm just saying, like I was not political. I'm ready for anything, right? Like, I don't care if it was a tag team match. I'm just making a joke, obviously.
I know we can totally.
But I was ready to have anybody on, and I still am ready to have anybody on. I want to talk to you guys like this, like show us the issues, and let's see if there are anywhere that we could come together. Now, listen, I don't think I think the stopping Brick turning into other areas is very big, and I hope you address it. I don't disagree. There's issues that I do hope whoever gets in are going to account for, and I would like, if we finish on this. These are some of my own personal concerns with what we have here, the trailers. I really feel like if you get back in, I'm not going to be happy with any trailer ordinance. And I would love it if you could tell me that you're going to work with us, because you obviously see the front of my house. Yeah. That trailer comes with me every single day, and it pulls in and it pulls out and it pulls in. Now, if I had to take that and bring it somewhere, you're talking how much are you going to cost me?
Here's what I'm going to tell you right now. There is no intention on the part of me or my administration to do anything to hurt small business owners.
Seemed like there was, though. That's what got me involved.
I know it seemed that way.
It didn't seem that way.
It
would have.
Home business. And we sat down with you, to be fair.
No, you did.
And we answered every single one of your questions.
3 months.
Explained.
3 months later, though. That was when I first came out. I'll grant it. You guys.
Yeah,
we have. I don't want to rehash that either.
To be fair, the door has remained open.
Always.
And anytime you have called, texted, or emailed, we have been fair and gotten back to you about
even if you didn't like what I was emailing you.
Absolutely.
100% you have been accessible in those regards.
I treat you the same way that I treat any resident. Any resident. Happy, sad, mad, irate, delighted, all of it. It comes with the territory. And the fact of the matter is, if you have a problem, if you have a question, or you need something, that's our job. Our job is to get back to you. Now, Do we always get back with every answer that you love?
Yeah, there's a couple
No,
answers I didn't love.
But I will tell you.
But you got back to me.
I tell you the truth. You know,
I thought I heard a little Vanilla Ice coming out of you in a second. Because if you had a problem, I heard
I'll solve it.
Check out the
if
hook.
I can.
You're right. Let's see what happens.
If I can.
So let's do this. Really quick. I'd like to just people like me. What do you say to people like me who are on the fence about you, saying you're another liberal like Mikey Sherrill? You're going to our taxes are gonna increase. You're going to be bringing in a lot of the liberal stuff like the school issues, any of the nationwide school issues. I don't have to actually say them. What do you say to people like me that say another bunch of years with you and we are going to see trailers going away, we're going to see overdevelopment, we're going to see Lakewood taking over? What do you say to people like us?
So for that, thank you for the question. What I would say is let's take a look at the last 12 years. This town has been run by Democrats for the last 12 years. And I'll go back to what I said before. Couldn't care less that I'm a Democrat or a Republican. Really does not matter to me, okay? If we were going to take these radical stances on something, don't you think you would have seen that by now? Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
I think we've seen some things.
So what crazy radical liberal thing have I done?
Have you done? Okay. So once again, now you've done a very good job of separating yourself from the schools. But
and if you were going to ask me about the schools, and someone did ask me about the schools at an event, and I said, I think, and I have made a public statement about this, and I even came out against Murphy when that law came down about hiding things from parents. I disagree with that. As a teacher, as someone who worked in a classroom and worked with kids for over 30 years, you need to have that relationship with a parent. And keeping something from a parent is not the right thing to do. So
it's not just that, though.
It's more than that. And I understand that. But I'm telling you what's here in front of us right now is I disagree with that. I think families and the schools need to have an open relationship about the students in that school in order for the students to benefit and thrive in their education. And if you're going to go on to any other, like what other things are you thinking, right?
So I could tell you a real life example that happened to me really quick. And it's stuff that I think it's stuff like this that happens statewide that pushes on us that I do. It gets thrust onto you. And I'm telling you as just a parent. So when my daughter was in 8th grade, people say that this isn't happening in our schools, but she had a furry in her class. There's really no other way to put it. I really don't even know how to say the vernacular at this point. But my issue with the entire thing was not the little girl. It was everybody in the way the class system kind of worked in this school was the little girl that could do that would show up as a frog one day, a wolf the next day, a cat the next day. No one could really adjust. If she was meowing or it happened. My daughter was coming home daily with racist this, gay lesbian this, trans this, like every day in 8th grade. I'm not kidding. There was a different conversation about a different thing. And it seemed like every kid had an IEP and the kids knew how to use the IEP against the teacher. And it was one giant like smorgasbord of liberal indoctrination I'm being very serious. And it wasn't through the teachers. I don't think it was through the system. And she would come home and she would talk about these issues to the point where we had to get involved when this little girl who was a little boy told my daughter to suck a part on her. And I said, if this happened and it was a different
circumstance. That would be inappropriate no matter who said that.
But my daughter kind of got reprimanded for it, right? Until we kind of got involved and then it all kind of calmed itself down. Those are the things that I think do get thrust on you. It's some of that far left stuff that I see coming in. And that's the stuff that I kind of want you to speak to to people like me that hopefully you're not going to be one of those people that are going to endorse stuff like that.
Listen, when it comes to children, I think that parents really need to have that relationship and discussion with their child about how they act in public, who they are. That is a family decision. That is what families should do together. And I don't think anyone else has a right to tell a family or whoever how they should treat their child. When it comes to doing things in public, I'm certainly not going to reprimand or have any issues with kids that come out in public and
No.
dress or do whatever they're going to do in public, unless it interferes with, and this is for any kid,
Distraction in the classroom.
And when it comes to the classroom itself, listen, I taught thousands of kids over my career easily because I was in middle school as well. So I understand the middle school mind. And I can't speak for other teachers. I can't speak necessarily to what your child went through. That's not an experience that I would have had in my classroom. And I didn't have that experience as a teacher, nor did I have it as a parent. I'm just being honest.
I think that was more COVID years.
But
too.
And that was a weird time, crazy time for everybody,
it's something
right?
I never
nobody wants to go back, right?
Never. And that's the thing. Just talk about liberal stuff being pushed on.
I mean,
everybody.
I feel like as a teacher, I can say of the thousands of kids that I probably had contact with, if you went back and you asked those kids and you asked those parents, yeah, that's not my style. Like, everybody has the right to be who they are and do what they want, as long as you're not, hurting someone else.
Yeah, so that's I think that's
really how I feel.
I think that it goes for everybody. Bricktown's one of those people. We've always been people like that. We don't care where you come from. You're either a good person or you're a bad person.
Exactly.
The bottom line. So,
and I'm not judging people. Like, I'm not out here to judge people.
No, and
on decisions they make or rules that they have in their own home or the way they raise their children. That is completely. That's not in my. I got to worry about my own family.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When your inside stuff starts coming into my house, that's when I have a problem with it. And I think that's what I think.
If there was an issue in town of something that was really upsetting to someone, that they would reach out to my office, and that we could deal with it appropriate.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it could be, and that I always encourage people, reach out to my office. I am the one who answers my own emails. I call back if somebody leaves their number, I call them back. I have seen people online say I emailed and I called and I never got a call back. Then I didn't get the message.
Yeah.
Or the email went to spam and I didn't see it. I'm just being honest with you. From my years as a teacher, from my years as a leader in that role, I take responsibility for what's mine and what comes into my office. And, if someone were to reach out and tell me that there was a problem, if it were within my purview to take care of.
I will.
Oh, I know, and I'll answer. and I'll answer you.
You said you've always been very good with answering me. So you have been very gracious with your time, and I know you were super busy. You're doing all this stuff. I have stolen an hour and 7 minutes.
I don't even know if you covered everything you wanted to talk about, but
listen, I covered most of it, right? I mean, listen, the brick issues are brick issues, and the things that I think we want to hear out of you and people that are on my side of the fence want to hear is, don't let us turn into Lakewood, and not in the negative connotation that people want to spin it. We do not want to turn into Lakewood. I would love it if we could fight back against some of these school policies. And I know that's a school thing, but I would love it if you could push your weight around a little bit there. Maybe I don't know.
To be fair, when it comes to funding, I'm happy to push my weight around. When it comes to getting proper funding for the schools at the state level,
I think we have to have a big push.
I'm happy to push my way.
I think we have to have a big conversation.
And I think what we need to do is see what happens in November, because whatever happens in November, it doesn't matter who gets in, doesn't matter either side, right? There's going to be a change to the State Board of Ed. And there's always changes when there's new administrations. Yep. There's always new ideas, new funding formulas. And I think we need to wait and see what happens. And then we can game plan. All right, is this something that's good for us, or is this something that we need to fight? And I am happy to join forces when it comes to fair funding for our students. I am happy to join forces with the school district to make that happen.
Yeah, and I would say, I know traffic is one of those things that I don't think we can, but I would love to see. I would love, honestly, and you tell me if this is feasible. And then afterwards, after I say this, I would love you to say the last word directly on, what your plans are, or whatever you want to finish up on. But I would love it if all of the mayors from Ocean County could get together and figure out in a non-discriminatory way how we fix some of the issues, like LLCs buying houses, the overdevelopment, all of those type of things.
That is a
think
problem.
I think we have to think, and we have to work on this together, because it's a giant problem, and it's not going to stop. It's going to continue unless people do put an end to it. And I'm the guy that says it honestly. What I see is, I see a group that is able to work differently than other groups. And I would love it if we could somehow figure out a way to have protection for people that don't have the group protection. I call it freedom against religion, or freedom from religion. Because listen, I get you have freedom of religion, and that's great. But when certain things happen, it's any group of people. I'm not calling one. There's areas that have different groups of people, different religions, that are things happening to them. But what happens is, when you are someone that isn't part of a group and doesn't have power, people like us, people like me, I feel like certain groups can dictate your life through people like yourselves, through some of the boards. And that's something I would love it if you guys could come together with and speak about it. And I know I got a little dicey there, and you might want to talk about that. But what do you think about that? And then final thoughts on everything, as far as going forward. Why should we vote for you?
Well, you brought up LLCs, and I'm going to tell you that LLCs are not just a problem here in Brick Township. That is a county, state, nationwide issue. And we've had discussions about, what are we allowed to do and not do. And frankly, there's a lot that we cannot do when it comes to that. But the LLCs nationwide that are buying up these properties, buying up these houses, turning them into rental units. And I know you can agree with this. I imagine we're on the same page with this. Is, my parents, who were the silent generation, right? I had a dad. He didn't go to college, was in the Navy, got a job. My mom didn't work. She raised us. They were able to buy a house and live the American dream. Gen X, right? I was able to buy a house. In my mid-20s, but nevertheless, it got done, right? I was able to save up, buy a house, live the American dream. My kids,
It's going to be tougher. They're going to be living here.
There's no
2 more cars to the
there's
road.
no right, exactly. Well, they're already there. I have an 18 and no, sorry, she just had a birthday the other day, 19 and a 20-year-old, right? And their American dream is booted into their 30s at this point, because the amount of money it takes to purchase a home now is out of control. And it's just something that is almost not in young people's grasp. So this is a nationwide problem, and I think we need to go higher up to see, how do we fix this? And I'm willing to do that.
It's been years and years of just.
It's been years and years in the making.
Yeah.
And the thing about what people anticipation is that everything is a quick fix, and not everything is not a quick fix. When it takes years to get where we are, it takes years to get out of where we are. So that LLC problem, I do agree with you. That is a problem that we need to talk about and figure out ways to fix. But I don't know what the answer is, and I'm being honest.
No, and you see what Howell's doing, and it seems like everybody starts getting sued by everybody else.
Exactly. Then you get lawsuits, and you've got to fight it.
And Howell actually put together a very well thought out, law. Something has to be done to protect a regular person. That's all I want to say. Like, I think far too many people feel like they have no representation. I think if you say that's something that you're against, I appreciate it. I hope.
Oh, it's a definite problem.
It's a definite problem.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. Everywhere. It's a real problem.
100% it's a real problem. And even like you said, I watch things like the stimulus packages, and I see what happens as a small business owner. We gave everybody all this free money, and now it was like a boom. I was busy from May. I was telling people I'm busy to November that year, and now all those jobs are gone. And now you see prices skyrocketed, and now people can't afford to buy a patio.
Exactly.
And so now the $5,000 patios are no longer there. The big people with money and the big jobs are there, but the smaller jobs are no longer there. Right. And you're right. It is a continuing problem.
It's a trickle down issue.
And it's stuff that when we talk about taxes, I think a lot of things are being pushed on you. Higher everything costs the town more. Higher gas prices cost the town a lot more money.
We pay the same thing everybody. You know what I'm saying?
It's all related.
We plan
You're right.
for that. We do plan for that. We know we can kind of project.
You plan for Trump?
what it's going to be. Well, we plan for as much as we can, right?
Yes.
You know?
Oh no, if
And
anybody could plan for Trump.
it wouldn't matter
That's for sure.
who it was, right?
Yep.
We got to plan, like, what's the worst case scenario? Let's plan for that, right?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate you giving me the time. I appreciate if you're still on. I don't know how long we've been doing this, but
So
if you're
we're not
still
live.
watching,
We're not live. We're just
I know,
we're
but at some
recording
point,
right now. No, so what
if
I
they
want
say on this whole, are you going to play this whole thing? Like
this whole thing's going on. I don't edit anything.
Yeah.
So what I would say is any final thoughts? Because I think we covered a lot of the issues that Brick wants to hear about. This is all I want to do ever, right? And I want to give you a platform to tell me what it is. I think after this conversation, I have a much better idea who you are, what you're talking about, what you're doing, what's your plans. So if you want to finish up there, give everybody what is the next bunch of years under the Crate administration. What are we looking for? What are we looking at? And I guess give your final pitch to the voter right there.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I appreciate you taking the time if you made it all the way to the end and you get to hear this, right? But really, if we're looking at the next 4 years, what my administration is looking to do is to continue keeping our municipal taxes stable. That is always our number one goal. I have a real understanding of the cost of living, inflation. I'm just like everybody else in this town. I have a regular ranch that I live in, nothing special. I have my 2 kids. One's in college. One is, working. And, we're just average people. So I understand the cost of living. We want to keep our taxes stable. We want to continue to preserve land. We want to make sure you brought up our employee, our workforce here in Brick Township. We want to make sure that they are able to do their jobs and also live here in Brick Township. That's very important to us. And that's something that we're going to continue to work towards. I do feel the traffic issue as a constant issue, and it's something that we are going to continue to work with the county and the state. I always tell people the higher up the chain you go, the less responsive you get, right? So, county, pretty responsive, state, not so great, right? So we continue fighting for trying to get these traffic issues in hand, right? We want to talk about that. Making sure that if you're living in Brick, you can afford to live in Brick. That's really important to us. Every single one of us, me, Heather, Rocco, Dan, we all live here. We all love this town. I moved to Brick over 30 years ago because I knew I wanted to raise my kids here. I love this town. And I want to keep it great. We're going to continue to work on our parks. We have Mallard Point finally getting ready to be built in the spring. I'm so happy about that. It was about 8 years of battling back and forth with the DEP and Army Corps and everybody else in between. And we finally got everything, all our ducks in a row. So we're ready for Mallard Point. I want to see us continue to do good things. We've opened the teen center. We have our senior center that's really working well. Our dialysis bus that is used all the time. We're adding a dialysis bus because we know how great the need is for our seniors to be transported to those much needed treatments. And really just to continue to work for what is it that Brick wants? What are the things that they want to see here in the township? And how can we improve upon the many services that we already offer that are really popular? And really, that's it. Love this town. Want to continue to serve. I have an open door, phone, email policy, and always encourage people to reach out if they really have a problem and they'd like an answer.
Listen, everybody, that is your candidate. This is something that I was hoping to bring to you guys a lot more of, but I thank you very much for joining me at my house, for getting with the Brick Breakdown. And one of the things that you said to me when we were in email forum was, are you sure you want me to come on? Because it doesn't seem like this is your group of people that follow your page. I think we have a bunch of different people that follow our page, both left and right, honestly. And no, I think a lot of people want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you taking the hour and 15 minutes. And
not a problem.
Before all, the hour and a half that you spent here, I really appreciate your time, Mayor. Listen, I don't agree with everything you've done, but I think overall, I would have came at you way harder if I thought you did really, really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? So listen, everybody, you heard from her mouth. I think we're on the same page with what's wrong with Bricktown, what our issues are, and I think you did a great job. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Brick Breakdown. Thank Mayor Lisa Crate, and listen, very good luck
Thank you.
with your election.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.